Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Cindy Donaldson Show. I am your host, Cindy Donaldson. I am a serial entrepreneur, lover of all things nature, obsessed with bucket lists, and I am here to help you not only create, but live your life by design. So it's been a hot minute. I can't tell you how many emails I've gotten saying, Cindy, you started your podcast and now you have been radio silent. What the hell is going on? Well, let me tell you. This summer has been hot mess express for this girl between helping my partner Dave settle his dad's estate and cleaning out the house and selling it, to helping my son renovate a rental property that has been the house from Hades. I mean, it has just been one thing after another. I thought I was going to be done before. I thought I was going to be done end of July. Then it was mid-August. Then it was the end of August. And it was like, praise God, it's going to be before Labor Day. And now we are delayed because of building permits in the city of Torrington, Connecticut are taking 2 weeks. And so my roofer, yeah, we found a hole in the roof. That's a whole other story, but it's been delayed. And so I am trying to not be the plumber with the leaky faucet and actually do what I tell my coaching clients to do and my friends and family. So I gave myself some grace and I said, you know what? I love doing this podcast. It is something that fires my soul, but it was one more thing on my plate that I felt obligated to do. And I was like, you know what, Cindy, let it go. No one's going to die if I don't do a podcast for a month. And so here we are. I am on the other side of Labor Day. If you read my emails, you know that I ran away to Vermont last week for a few days, which was by far the best thing I could have done. There might have been pancakes and day drinking involved, but my soul just needed a break. I told my family and I told my partner Dave, like, I'm done. I am burnt out. And I recognized the signs, like my face was breaking out. I was bloated. I was irritated. Like the tiniest little thing just pushed me over the edge. Like this girl was done. Stick a fork in me, done. And so I told all my clients, like, I need a break. I need a break. And for the first time, and I think like 15 years, I didn't send an email out on Thursday. Like Thursday was my original date to have my emails go out, and I have been doing it forever. And then I added Monday in, and I sent an email out on Monday, and I said, okay, I'm breaking tradition. There's no email on Thursday. And of course, people that didn't read Monday's email, they're like, are you okay? I didn't get my Cindy Thursday email. And so I mean, I've always vowed to be really authentic and honest here about life because no one's life is freaking perfect. No one. And you have to recognize the signs of burnout. There's only so much you can do. And again, one of my ADHD superpowers is that I can do a lot of different things all at once and usually not get frustrated. But the stress from, dealing with these two houses and work and dealing with some health issues, nothing major, nothing awful, but my health issue is really the stress in my life. And I've talked about this a lot. Like I have really high cortisol levels. My body is in this constant fight or flight mode. And I've been binge watching the latest documentary on the blue zones on Netflix. If you read my email, I linked to it and all of that. But it's kind of going back to a plant-based diet where I felt really good. And being being a vegan on the road sometimes is very challenging. Um, and especially if you want to go out to eat. Like we were, when we always love to go to local restaurants and stuff when we travel. And when you're in Wyoming and Montana, there are no vegan restaurants. This is cow country. They're cattle farmers. So, we kind of got off the bandwagon of being vegan. And then when we were back here in New York around Dave's family, like nobody's a vegan. And it kind of fell off. And I feel shitty. I feel shitty. Being vegan just makes me feel better. Feel better. I mean, I grew up on a farm. We raised cows and pigs. So I'm not a vegan for ethical reasons. I think if you treat your animals well and, they they live a good life and all of that. Like everybody dies. So I don't have a problem with people who eat meat. I do have a problem with those factory farms and all of that. Like that breaks my soul. Like no hate on the dairy farmers, but the dairy cows that never get to see grass, like I don't like that. So in any event, back to the blue zones. If you don't know what a blue zone is, it's these little pockets of communities throughout the world, and there's not a lot of them, where an inordinate amount of people live to be over 100. And yes, part of it is diet and exercise, mostly a plant-based diet. People are constantly moving. You know, and we experienced this when we were in the Cinque Terre in Italy. You know, it's all these big hills, and I would see these little bow-legged Italian grandmas with two big baskets of food, just, you know, waddling up these hills like it's nothing, and they're not even gasping for air. And me, like this was 11, 12 years ago, and I was in the best shape of my life. I'm like, you know, huffing and puffing going up the hill, and these little bow-legged, nothing grandmas were just going and looking at me like, girl, what is your problem? You know, you need to walk more. So, and this is like when I was running a lot too, but hills have never been my favorite. In any event, the blue zone, yes, mostly plant-based diet. Carbs are not the enemy. They're, you know, towns in Italy, Sardinia, Italy, where they eat a lot of carbs, but a lot of vegetables. And there's really no processed food, right? These people are farmers for the most part and live off grid, but they also found these pockets within urban areas that are also blue zones. But they're very focused on, yes, diet and exercise. But what I found fascinating about the blue zoners, as I call them, is it's so much more than that. It is so much more. It is about living life to the fullest. It's about following your passion. It's about ikigai. And if you don't know what ikigai is, please Google it. And I've done entire workshops and classes on ikigai. It's really about not only finding your purpose, but living into your purpose. And when it comes to having a career and job, it's really aligning, you know, what you're really good at, what brings you great joy, how you can make money, what the world needs, how you can give back, what makes you feel good. And the intersection of all of that is where you need to be. That is the spirit of ikigai. So the people in Asia, obviously it's from, I believe, Japan. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe it's from Japan. They follow this, right? So yes, they eat and they exercise and they have great balance because they squat and they sit on the ground, but they don't sweat the little things. They really don't sweat the little things. And they come together as a community. They surround themselves with friends and family. Like loneliness, I see this a lot in seniors, is a killer. It's a killer. So really being around other people, not sweating the little things, right? And you know, the whole mindset of not my monkey, not my circus, and not trying to feel responsible for things that you have no authority over. Staying in your lane, yet being empathetic and helpful for others. So it's almost the concept of you take responsibility. It's not almost, it really is. You take responsibility for your own life, right? You make sure that your cup is full before you start draining it to give to others. And I found, I guess this is why I was so drawn to this documentary, because my life over the past the past year, I mean, Dave and I have seriously been taking care of his mom and dad for the past year. We haven't really been traveling. And because of that, we became far more sedentary. We, again, stopped having a vegan diet because we were go, go, go. And so we were eating out a lot more and really shitty food. We weren't exercising. And the stress has been through the roof. And so if you ask me why I've gained, and Dave's gained 30 pounds, I've gained like 40 pounds in a year, people. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot. And it's not even the calories as much as it's the whole no blue zone thing, right? It's the stress, it's the constant go, it's the giving, 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 and not filling our cup. So that's kind of what this session of the Cindy Donaldson show is really all about, and goes back to things that I'm working on with my mentor about this fourth quarter of our lives. So I'm 61 years old, but you don't have to be in your fourth quarter, but really going back to Ikigai and what brings me joy. What do I love to do? And being okay, being selfish. So I am really working on boundaries, like telling my kids no. I'm reminded by my mentor on a weekly basis that I have adult children. I do not have little kids. They are adults. They're in their 30s. And it's not if something horrific happened, I wouldn't come in and help. Of course not. But it's okay to say no. So this year, Dave and I have decided, if all of the stars align, that we are not going to spend the holidays here in the States, that we're going to go to Europe. And his brother lives in Germany. So we were thinking of spending the holidays in Germany. And come on, Christmas markets. And a big part of me is German, as is Dave. My family on my mother's side emigrated from the Heidelberg, Germany area back in the late 1800s. So I finally did the 23andMe thing, and I'm, of course, a big chunk German, but I found out that I am far more Irish than I thought I was. No wonder why I love Dublin and, having a nice pint of Guinness or Smithwick's, right? And I actually say Smithwick's the way it's supposed to be said versus Smithwick's. You can always tell somebody who is not an Irish pub aficionado. But my Scottish ancestors actually emigrated, it seems, from Dublin. Like my Scottish name is McCallum, but they spell it MC. Half of the family spells it MAC, and the other half MC. We're still the Irish form of it. Now, my grandmother is 100% Scottish, but decades earlier, well, generations earlier, they moved from Northern Ireland, the Belfast area, or Dublin, to Glasgow and that area, and then further south to where a lot of my relatives are over there. So quite fascinating. Anyway, I was like, Dave, let's just go spend a month or 2 months or whatever in Europe. Like, I can work from anywhere. I can work anywhere. So as long as there's Wi-Fi, I can work. And it doesn't matter where I do it from. So I think we're kind of exploring what we would do. So if you have any great ideas on where to spend winter months in Europe outside of Germany, I was thinking, I've never been to Finland. I was like, I thought that was kind of cool. This is all part of my Ikigai. Like, I don't want to spend 8 months just bopping from country, 8 weeks bopping from country to country. I want to kind of settle in and like hang for 3 or 4 weeks and get kind of like what we do when we're RVing, right? I am not one of those RVers. And again, no judgment if that's your vibe, but we don't plot out our routes. I see this in the RV forums all the time. Oh, here's our, summer route. And I have like 48 pins over, 2 months. I'm like, oh my God, that would drive me crazy. First of all, it's very expensive and you're constantly go, go, go. I mean, and we did that in the beginning, not to that extreme, but we would spend like 2 or 3 weeks in a place and I would constantly have the next place booked. I don't do that anymore. We go until we don't want to stay there anymore. And then we sometimes throw, a dart in a map and say, where are we going to go next? Now, there's a little stress that goes along with that because sometimes it doesn't always work out, but we find that it's much more enjoyable experience. So that's kind of what I want to do in Europe is let's just go be someplace. I'd love to rent a van over there and travel around. If it weren't winter, I would probably do that. But I think we're just going to get some Airbnbs and chill out and have some fun. And blue zoners are like that, right? They just they live in the moment. They have honestly learned how to just be. They've learned how to just be. Something Americans are horrible at, this girl included. Now, part of that is my ADHD. It's very hard for me to stay in the moment before my brain is onto something else, but it's an intentional practice of not being on the go and saying no to things that don't serve you, right? I'm a yes person. I'm a people pleaser, like a lot of us, right? And so I tend to feel bad if somebody's in a tough situation and I know I can help. And I do that to the extreme where I can't help myself. So, burnout. It's a big freaking deal, people. And it can kill you in the end. Like, stress is a big killer, especially for people, I'm in my 60s now. This is when like health issues really start manifesting if I don't take care of myself. So 2024, Q4 of this year in 2024, I'm calling Selfish Cindy. And I encourage you to do the same if you can. Selfish, fill in the blank, your name. And what that means is really recentering back to me. Again, the ikigai. Back to mindful mornings, right? I've had a really hard time getting up early again. And part of that is, again, my circadian rhythms are all out of whack. Cortisol levels. So I'm waking up at like 2:30, 3 o'clock every morning, and then my mind is racing. And I actually thought about getting up at that time and starting my day and to see what happened. But then I'm laying in bed and the thought of it is like, ugh, like I just want to go back to sleep. And what happens is around 4 o'clock, a time like when I was running all the time, I would get up at 4. But at 4 o'clock, I tend to fall back into this incredible deep sleep until about 6:30. And I'm one of those people that kind of has to lay in bed a little bit before they can get up. Otherwise, it makes me nauseous. And I don't know the medical reason behind that. So if you know, let me know. And which means I'm not getting out of bed until like 7 o'clock. The old me would think like my day is half over at that point because I was getting up at 4:35. I'd get my workout in. I would, journal. I did all the things, right? All the things. And I felt amazing. My health was great. I was eating better. I wasn't stressed out. And the most important part of all of that was my mental health. When you are in this constant state of flight or fight, your mental health it can't help but not take a nosedive. So you get the anxiety, you get the depression, you get the, bad talking about yourself. I told you, I'm a plumber with a leaky faucet right now, and I don't like it. I don't like it. So I'm grateful that I recognize it, right? And that I have the tools to move me to the next step. If we're all being honest here, girls, it's harder now than it was 15, 20 years ago. The hardest part of my life was in my 30s and 40s, and I overcame that. And if I were coaching myself, I would say, Cindy, look back, like you can do hard things. I've gotten to this point in my life where like, my brain was like, Cindy, you've done all those hard things so many freaking times. Like, why do you have to do the hard things again? Like, I shouldn't have to be doing the hard things, right? And that negative self-talk, the RAS, your reticular activating system, started just thinking that all the time, right? I shouldn't have to be doing this stuff. Like, why am I doing it? And it was making me more and more miserable. Versus back to the blue zones, accepting my life for what it is. And this is the season I'm in, finding what I can be grateful for. And there's a lot. Oh my God, there's so much I can be grateful for, and I should be grateful for, and I am grateful for. And there's a lot of things I want to change. So being in that zone of, okay, Cindy, it's go time. And my personality is one, because I have catalytic energy, I tend to blast off like, okay, let's do this. I am the queen of let's get a new journal. Let's get, empty the refrigerator. I'm actually doing an 11-day reset with my Isogenics family right now, which is it's good alignment because I'm helping others kind of, clean up their diet and mindset and all of that. And so I'm doing it for myself. It's great. It's great. But what I want to avoid is this extreme energy of, the tortoise and the hare scenario here. I am the queen hare. I'm like, boom, boom. I even do this in races. I always go out way too fast. Because I'm like, I've got this. And then, especially in the half marathon and marathon situations, I will get usually to the halfway point, no problem. It's the 3/4 point, regardless of the race, actually. And the shorter races, I'm probably even worse because I go out really fast in the shorter races. And then at the 3/4 mark, I'm like, ugh. Like, then I become the extreme tortoise where I'm, crawling. I've never been a girl of moderation. Let's put it that way. So this is what I am really working on now, is because there are no quick fixes in anything. It truly is a lifestyle change. And this is, again, another theme through the Blue Zoner thing. It's a lifestyle, and you can't fix something that's broken overnight, right? It's something that it's a baby step. Like every day you just, the consistency thing, drink one more thing of water every day, or a cup more of water every day, move 500 more steps every day, or get up early, write one more line in a journal, read one more book that makes you feel good about yourself, get off social media, right? I mean, I found myself, I was obsessing about my weight a lot because it really bothered me emotionally, physically, everything. And when you're on social media, the algorithms, no, like if you watch one thing or you search one thing, then your feed is filled with that. And I found myself surrounded with a lot of really negative energy. And again, the RAS, your reticular activating system, whatever you feed it, your brain thinks that's now the most important thing in your life. And it then begins filtering everything that comes in. So if you are watching a lot of negative things or negative diet culture things or extreme things or the horrible things in the news, you tend to not begin to see the sunshine. You tend not to smell the flowers. You tend not to taste the coffee. You tend not to see the joy in your life. You tend not to be grateful for things because you're focusing on what you don't have versus what you do. And trust me, that kind of stuff is very stealth. You don't even know what's happening until you have those feelings of anxiety and depression. And unless you've done a ton of coaching and therapy and you're a personal development junkie like I am, you don't even know when you get to that anxiety and depression point why it's happening, which is why I like to share this shit about my life, right? Like, I am not a psychiatrist. I am not a medical doctor. I'm none of that. But I have gone through a lot of shit in my life, and I've overcome a lot of things. I'm the queen of resilience. And again, I'm obsessed with bucket lists, and I really do strive to do things that make me happy. Yet life, like this past summer, kind of sucked me back in. So I can be resentful about, missing a year out of my life traveling in the RV, or I could be grateful that Dave and I, based on our lifestyle, we were able to be here when Dave's dad passed away. And it was an incredibly peaceful moment. And grateful that we can help his mom when she needs us. And grateful that I can help my kids renovate houses. But it's time for me. It's time for me. And the toll has been big. So I had a lot of anxiety about telling my kids I wasn't going to be here for Christmas because my oldest is 34. I've obviously never missed a Christmas with her. And I remember kind of missing the first Easter holiday, and I made the kids and their significant others get on Zoom for mimosas, because that's what I did. Like, I would have mimosas in the morning, and yeah, I still made my kids Christmas baskets up until we started living full time in the RV. And my kids kind of thought they did it for me. They didn't care. They didn't care. They're like, whatever, mom's living her best life. They still think I'm a little crazy, but they didn't care. And so, and I realized that my kids have other families, and you know, they travel, and I only really got to see them for this tiny little minute on Christmas. So we're just going to celebrate the holidays before or after. And sure, I'll talk to them on Christmas and Zoom from wherever I am, but it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Anyway, so that's why this podcast kind of took a little hiatus, and it's why I've pushed off my coaching group until October. It's why I've pushed off my new subscription group. Coming soon. I will share this, so if you follow me online, you'll see it, or if you're subscribed to my email. If you don't subscribe to my email, dude, get on the list. You can go to cindy-donaldson.com or redbarnconsultingllc.com, and there's a million sign-up places. Just go there and get on the list. I share my life every Monday and Thursday mornings, with a few exceptions. Like I said, I kind of took a break, but I'll keep you posted on when the new coaching group. I've actually lowered the prices on it, which is like, from a business perspective, people are like, why are you doing that? And I found that there are people that couldn't afford it, and I was giving away some scholarships anyway to people, and I was like, why not just make it affordable? It's not like it's work for me. It really isn't work. Like, I get on a Zoom call once a week with a group of people for my group coaching program. Individual coaching is a little different, but group coaching is magical in itself, because you not only get my energy, you get the energy from the group, and you are able to give back to the group, and the group gives back from you, and you always make new friends. So my group coaching programs have been, like I said, really magical, and I've lowered the price dramatically. And then if you kind of want a taste of me, I know this is sounding like a sales pitch, and I apologize, but you know, this is how my brain works. The subscription model is only like $9 a month, and I will do like a live Zoom. Every month is a different topic. If you were part of the Thursday Club years ago, it's kind of the same thing, but I've leveled up big time. So I will be doing a live Zoom like the Thursday Club. I'll pick a topic every month, and you'll get emails, but I have a whole community now in the back end where you can connect and gather stuff. So it's a lot cooler. And the plan was to launch it actually this week, but the summer got ahead of me, and I was like, you know what? It's okay. I hired a new virtual assistant who's helping me do all the stuff in the back end, and we are launching in October. So I'm pretty excited about that. I don't know where in the world Cindy will be, kind of like Waldo, but that's okay. I know we're going to be headed out to Amish land. I have an Isogenics, my network marketing company. We have a meeting out there with my friend Cindy Walters. So if you're listening, Cindy, I can't wait to see you. But we've been to this campground a couple times. It's right in the heart of Amish country, and I go running or walking, and the farmers will get out on their bikes or their scooters and kind of talk to us while we're walking and running, because they're kind of fascinated with my life of living full-time in the RV just as much as I'm fascinated about their life in the Amish community. And the Amish in Ohio are a bit more progressive than, at least I think they are, versus the Amish in Pennsylvania, like in the Lancaster area. And they're just lovely people, and we've always enjoyed being there. So pretty sure for October, we're kind of be there. And I've got a bunch of big speaking gigs and projects on the East Coast. So I don't think we'll be headed out west like our original plan until after we get back from Europe. So might be spending, I don't know, the like February, March, April timeframe out in Sedona. I feel like my soul just needs to go sit on some red rocks and do the Om thing and write and paint or whatever. So Ikigai, blue zones, getting back to just the basics of treating your mind and body and soul and being selfish, not a bad way, and not feeling guilty about it. So that's the lesson I have for you today, my beautiful humans. And I'm going to be better at practicing what I preach. I shared that with a coaching client this morning. I was like, listen, I am not perfect. I am not perfect. It is very easy for me to, see roadblocks in others, but often it's hard to see the roadblocks within ourselves, which is why I work with my mentor every week and why I've gone through therapy and why I've worked with a lot of coaches. You need that second perspective, or third or fourth or fifth. Again, that's why I love the group coaching stuff. It's like a group of friends getting together like once a week, and like everybody becomes like very interconnected in this wonderful, again, magical way. So again, Cindy Donaldson signing out. Go get on my email list, cindy-donaldson.com. Also on that website, you'll have all the information about the upcoming group coaching and the subscription model called the Courage Formula Insiders Group, because that's my group coaching program is called the Courage Formula. Because I do believe, I just shook my computer. Everybody does have sort of this hidden courage inside of them, and you can do hard things, and you are far more capable than you think. And that includes being selfish. So in a good way. So Cindy Donaldson signing out. I don't even know what episode this is, or I would mention it here, but have an awesome, awesome, awesome rest of your day. And thanks for listening. Bye.